G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I've been set some homework by my psychologist and I'm going to go through it with you. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about psychometric tests. These are scales and tests that are used to assess the severity and the incidence of mental illness, symptoms, behaviours, disorders themselves, etc. There's heaps of them. Some are really, really, really good, like the one I'm about to talk about now. Some are not so good, but at the same time, these scales can really offer some insight into your own world, because with mental health, it's hard, improvements are incremental, very small usually, and it's easy to miss the wins along the way. So these tests are good because it's sort of a snapshot in time. So I can go, hey, I got this score, but 6 months ago I got this score. So, hey, we're actually going better. This is good, moving in the right direction. So the scales are very important. They're also important for clinicians to get an understanding of what they're dealing with, basically. And that's exactly what's going on here. So I've got a few tests. The one we're going to talk about today is the Beck Anxiety Inventory, or the BAI. There's a few others here that I've got that I need to do as well. And it's all about, I guess the main key in this instance is for my clinician, my psychologist, to get a bit of a snapshot, bit of a better understanding of what I'm going through, and then hopefully use this data to then create a plan forward. That's the idea. It's one thing to know, oh, look, I'm really anxious. That confirms what I already thought. That's great. But that doesn't really help anything. What helps is then the plan that is put in motion from the data that's collected. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. So let's look at it very briefly. I'm going to go through it in a minute, but let's look at the actual scale and what it's all about. So the Beck Anxiety Inventory, the BAI, and there's a few different ones very quickly. There's a depression one, there's a hope one, but these scales are really highly validated and very reliable, and that's why they're used quite often. And this is another example of that. So the Beck Anxiety Inventory is a widely used self-report questionnaire designed to measure the severity of an individual's anxiety. It was developed by Dr. Aaron T. Beck, who is very well known for his work with cognitive behavioral therapy. Anyway, the BAI helps differentiate between anxiety and depression. This is so key, by focusing specifically on anxiety symptoms. So often in a clinical setting, anxiety and depression will sort of just get wrapped up into one ball together, and it's not. They're two separate disorders needing two different ways to treat them. So that's one reason why this test is so good, because it focuses solely on anxiety. Depression can come later, but we're looking at the anxiety. So there you go. No muddying of the waters with depression symptoms in this test as well. It is clear as day we are looking at anxiety. So how does it actually do that though? Let's look at the structure. So the BAI consists of 21 multiple choice questions. The response options, there's 4 possible answers ranging from 0 to 3, indicating the severity of each symptom over the past month. So 0 is not at all. 1 is mildly, it didn't bother me too much. 2 is moderately, it was very unpleasant, but I could stand it. 3 is severely, I could barely stand it. So 3 is the worst, 0 is the best. So very quickly, I'm about to go through the test now and the symptoms that are listed, but I will mention scoring, and I'll repeat this after as well. So at the end of the 21 questions, you add them all up together and there'll be a score between 0 and 63. So a score of 0 to 7, minimal anxiety. I don't think that one's going to apply here today, but anyway, it's there. 0 to 7, minimal anxiety. 8 to 15, mild anxiety. 16 to 25, moderate anxiety. 26 to 63, severe anxiety. So we want to be under 26. Although if I'm above 26, that just means there's a great opportunity to do some work and get that number down. So yeah, so we'll see. So the higher of the scores, as I mentioned, is the greater level of anxiety. So the BAI, generally speaking, helps clinicians and individuals as well understand the intensity of their anxiety and monitor changes over time. So without further ado, let's do the test. So 0, not at all. 1, mildly, but didn't bother me too much. 2, moderately, it wasn't pleasant at times. And 3, severely, it bothered me a lot. Okay, let's go. Below is a list of common symptoms of anxiety. Please carefully read each item in the list. I should mention too, if you want to do the BAI with me right now, press pause, go to Google, search Beck Anxiety Inventory, print it off, or have it on the screen, but jot down your answers and we'll see how we compare so we can do it together. So, all right. So, indicate how much you have been bothered by that symptom during the past month, including today, by circling the number in the corresponding space in the column next to each symptom. Okay, first, numbness or tingling. 1. Feeling hot. 1. I had that earlier actually because I thought I was meant to do a presentation today and had this massive hot wave come over me, which is a classic symptom of stress. That's why it's included here in this test. But I'll go 1 because it did dissipate pretty quickly once I figured out that my presentation's next week. Anyway, wobbliness in legs. 2, moderately, I'd say. Because I've always got this, fight or flight energy. I'm always on edge. So, I'm sort of stumbling around just trying to, keep the intensity up, even though I want to get it lower. Unable to relax. 3, never relaxed. Never. Fear of the worst happening. 3, this isn't good. We've got 2 3s in a row. This isn't good. But anyway, this is life. Fear of the worst happening. Oh, man. Dizzy or lightheaded. 1. Heart pounding, racing. 2, but there's the question if is it the anxiety or is it the fact that I'm unfit? Don't know. Unsteady. 1, terrified or afraid. 3, nervous. 2, I'd say 2, yeah. That could almost be 3, but they always say, when you do these tests, they always say, pick the number that comes in, or the answer that comes in first. So 2 is what jumped in, but could almost be 3. Feeling of choking. Well, there's a little bit there. 0. Nothing that I'm concerned about there with choking. Hands trembling. Yeah, 2. Now, this is my measure. Now, my hands tremble a lot, again, because of the adrenaline that's pumping through and all the stimulants and the caffeine and stuff that I have just to keep awake and keep moving. So everything's shaking. That's why I'm unsteady on my feet. That's why my hands are shaking. It's not great. I'm going to go with 2, moderately, because it has been unpleasant at times. It's been quite consistent. I haven't gone 3, though, because for 3, I need to have dropped something. So if I'm having a shell of my carver and my hands are shaking, I'm spilling it all over myself. Actually, I have done that part. So maybe it should be 2.5. Anyway, spilling it everywhere and then I drop the shell, well, then that's a 3. So I'm going to go with 2, but the potential for that to be 3 is certainly there. Shaky or unsteady. We've already sort of had the unsteady question. I'm going to go 1. The reason it's repeated, by the way, is to make sure that you're actually doing it properly, not just selecting random responses. So some of these questions or these symptoms will overlap each other. And the idea is if you're doing this test properly, they should come out with a similar score because you're measuring the same thing. Fear of losing control. 2, because there's been a bit of BPD rage welling in me lately. So I'm going to say 2. Difficulty in breathing. Again, is this because I'm unfit or is this because I'm anxious? 1. Fear of dying. 3. That'd be a 4 or a 5. I'd go 5 if I could. 3. Fear of dying. Huge. Today even. Well, every day. But yeah, today I've been thinking about those closest around me dying and how I'll never see them again. And it makes me shiver. Scared. Go 2. Scared's probably, again, similar to nervous from earlier. Indigestion, that's a physical response. So 1, but that could be because of all the kava I'm drinking. Faint, lightheaded, I'm going to go 1. face flushed. It's happened, but not often, so 1. And then hot, cold sweats. Well, look, if it was just looking at the last week, I would probably go a 1. But because it's the whole month and there was one of those sweats episodes within the last 4 weeks, I'm going to have to go with 3. So there you go. So just before I count them all up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threes and only 1 0. 5 threes, 1 0, and then the rest is in the middle. So let me just add up now. Dear, oh dear. Let's have a look. So the total is 36. Hey, ding, ding, ding. 36. So let's go back to the severity levels. Let's see where I land. 0 to 7 is minimal anxiety. 8 to 15 is mild anxiety. 16 to 25 is moderate anxiety. And 26 to 63 or 26 and above is severe anxiety. And unfortunately, 36 lands me well and truly within the severe anxiety sort of section. But at the same time, I should be in that category because I'm doing this from a psychologist, and the whole reason, or at least part of the reason I'm at the psychologist, is to help with my anxiety. And I've only just started seeing her. So it makes sense that my numbers would be high. It's I don't know. It's disappointing, of course, that every time I do one of these tests, because I do these a lot on myself just for my own sake, I guess, my own insight, I'm always severe. And I'm getting a bit over being in the severe category all the time. So hopefully this now offers a great opportunity to dial down the anxiety and move on with life. Stop being scared of living, which I am, which is a huge problem. So severe anxiety, it's disappointing that I got 36 and I'm well and truly in there. But at the same time, I can see some big changes that can bring down that number quite, I don't know about quickly, but substantially. I think I can get to the mild anxiety zone, 8 to 15. I'd be pretty happy if I can get myself down to that. Because the way it seems, I don't know, anxiety is going to probably be a part of my makeup forever. That's just me. Unfortunately, my amygdalas are dialed up too high and I'm really, really anxious. But if I can dial them down to 8 to 15, that's much more manageable than severe anxiety, because severe anxiety is where the freeze mode comes in. Severe anxiety is where the fight or flight comes into it, constantly on edge, and then all the fatigue that comes because of that, all the projects that aren't engaged with, or people, not ringing people and being sociable. This is all the severe anxiety range, and this is where I live, unfortunately. So if I can get to the mild stuff, I think that'd then help a lot of things, moving down the track. So anyway, so there you go. 36, severe anxiety. I'd love to know what scores you guys got if you're comfortable enough with telling me, because it is a great test. It's simple, but it really hones in on anxiety in a very, very, very smart way. So Aaron Beck has done so much for psychology, and the Beck inventories are doing heaps as well. So that's the anxiety one. I might do the depression one. It's not in my list that I have to do for my psychologist, but maybe I'll do that just to see how that's going, because I think that result will be a little bit better. So anyway, so the use of, just to finish up, the use of the BAI, so clinical practice, of course, so used by mental health professionals like my psychologist to assess and track anxiety levels in patients, and we're going to track it downwards, hopefully. Research, so it's used in studies to measure anxiety symptoms and the effectiveness of interventions, and self-assessment, so individuals such as myself and such as you too can use it to gain insight into their or our anxiety levels and seek appropriate help if needed. The BAI is a reliable and valid tool for assessing anxiety and can guide treatment planning and evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the BAI. If you've got any questions, feel free to send them through. If, like I said, if you scored yourself and you're happy enough to let me know, that'd be cool too. But there you go. That is the BAI, and that is how my anxiety is tracking at the moment. Unfortunately, still within the severe range. But that doesn't matter because we're going to be doing it does matter, but it's not going to matter too much because I'm about to do the work and that number is going to come down and it's going to stay down. That is exactly what's going to happen. So, sort of bad news, but opening up pathways to get some really good news further down the track. All right, thank you everybody for listening. If you've made it this far through listening to me talk about psychometric testing, I'll tell you, you've done well. You've done really well, and I congratulate you for it. This material is a little bit dry, I must admit, but at the same time, again, it's the insight. You guys now know, like, the inner workings of my anxiety almost to the same level that I do. Like, this, I don't know, there's no other podcast that I can think of that does this sort of stuff. So, this is raw, this is real and genuine and fair income. This is my test of the Beck Anxiety Inventory. This is how I went, and the numbers weren't necessarily good, but that's the reality, and I'm here to share that with you, and I will also look forward to sharing with you the improvements. So 36, but I reckon under 26 definitely is attainable sooner rather than later. That'd be nice. All right, thank you for listening, everybody. If you want to reach out and contact, you can. You can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters. Until next time, though, thank you for listening to the Dysregulated podcast.